The 2018/2019 season was one of the most tumultuous campaigns in Manchester United's modern history. From internal conflicts to disappointing performances on the pitch, the season was marked by managerial upheaval, player unrest, and inconsistent results. What began with hope quickly turned into a rollercoaster of struggles, leaving fans frustrated and the club searching for stability. This article takes an in-depth look at the fights, brutal struggles, and key moments that defined Manchester United's turbulent season. The Mourinho era, a downward spiral. Jose Mourinho, who had delivered Manchester United's last major trophies by winning the Europa League and EFL Cup in the 2016/2017 season, entered the 2018/2019 campaign under immense pressure. His relationship with key players, especially Paul Pogba, had deteriorated significantly. The tension between Mourinho and Pogba became public, with training ground clashes and subtle jabs in interviews fueling media speculation. The season started with back-to-back disappointing results, including a 3-2 defeat to Brighton and a 3-0 loss at home to Tottenham. Mourinho's defensive tactics and conservative approach drew criticism, while the lack of attacking cohesion frustrated fans. As the months progressed, results failed to improve, and a string of poor performances left United far behind in the Premier League title race. A humiliating 3-1 defeat to Liverpool in December 2018 proved to be the breaking point. Shortly after the match, Manchester United's board made the difficult decision to sack Mourinho, bringing an end to his controversial tenure. The Solskjaer revival, a temporary resurgence. Following Mourinho's dismissal, Manchester United appointed club legend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as interim manager. His arrival sparked an immediate turnaround as the team played with renewed freedom and attacking intent. Solskjaer's man management skills helped restore confidence in key players, including Pogba, Marcus Rashford, and Anthony Martial. United embarked on a stunning unbeaten run, winning 14 of their first 17 games under Solskjaer. The highlight of this period was the dramatic comeback against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League round of 16. Trailing 2-0 from the first leg, United staged a miraculous 3-1 victory in Paris, with a last-minute penalty from Rashford sealing their place in the quarterfinals. The momentum generated by Solskjaer's arrival convinced the United hierarchy to appoint him as permanent manager in March 2019. However, this decision proved premature as the team's form nosedived immediately after the announcement. Dressing room turmoil and player struggles. Despite the initial resurgence, Manchester United's dressing room issues resurfaced in the final months of the season. The relationship between Solskjaer and some senior players became strained as results deteriorated. Pogba, who had been instrumental during the winning streak, reportedly clashed with the manager over tactical decisions and his role in the team. Alexis Sanchez, a high-profile signing from Arsenal, continued to struggle, failing to justify his enormous wages. His lack of form and injuries meant that he barely contributed, becoming one of the biggest disappointments of the season. Meanwhile, Romelu Lukaku found himself in and out of the starting XI, as Solskjaer preferred a more dynamic front three of Rashford, Martial, and Jesse Lingard. Defensively, United were in shambles. The partnership of Chris Smalling and Phil Jones failed to provide stability, while errors from goalkeeper David De Gea in crucial matches cost the team valuable points. The lack of leadership at the back was evident, and despite Victor Lindelof's improvement, United's defensive frailties haunted them throughout the campaign. Collapse in form, from hope to disappointment. After the PSG victory, Manchester United's form took a drastic downturn. They won just 2 of their final 12 matches across all competitions, crashing out of the Champions League to Barcelona with a 4-0 aggregate defeat. Their performances in the Premier League were equally disappointing, as they suffered defeats to Wolves, Everton, and relegated Cardiff City on the final day. One of the lowest points came in a humiliating 4-0 defeat to Everton in April. Solskjaer publicly criticized his players, questioning their commitment and desire to play for the club. His comments highlighted the deeper issues within the squad, as lack of motivation and dressing room discord became evident. By the end of the season, United finished in 6th place, missing out on Champions League qualification. Their total of 66 points was one of their worst ever tallies in the Premier League era, and the season ended in complete disarray. Boardroom issues and transfer failures. Another major issue that plagued Manchester United throughout the 2018/2019 season was the lack of strategic planning from the board. Ed Woodward, the club's executive vice chairman, came under heavy scrutiny for his failure to back Mourinho in the transfer market. United desperately needed reinforcements, particularly in defense, but failed to sign key targets including Harry Maguire and Toby Alderweireld. The lack of investment in key areas resulted in an imbalanced squad that struggled to compete against the top teams. While United did manage to sign Diogo Dalot, Fred, and Lee Grant in the summer transfer window, none of them made a significant impact on the team's fortunes. Fan frustration and protests. As the season unraveled, Manchester United fans grew increasingly frustrated with the direction of the club. Protests against the Glazer ownership and Ed Woodward intensified, with many supporters demanding a complete overhaul of the leadership structure. Discontent spread across social media, where hashtags calling for change gained massive traction, while banners and chants at Old Trafford echoed the growing dissatisfaction within the fan base. On the pitch, the team's performances were inconsistent, lacking both cohesion and a clear tactical identity. Despite moments of promise, the squad often appeared disjointed, struggling against both elite opposition and lower-tier teams they were expected to dominate. Defensive frailties, a lack of creativity in midfield, and misfiring forwards compounded the frustrations, leaving fans yearning for the high standards set during the glory days of Sir Alex Ferguson. The absence of a long-term strategy, coupled with questionable transfer decisions and managerial uncertainty, only deepened the sense of unease. While individual players showed flashes of brilliance, the lack of unity and a defined playing style raised serious concerns about the club's future. As the season concluded, uncertainty loomed large over Old Trafford, with unresolved questions about squad depth, the manager's tenure, and the overarching vision of the club. The gap between the club's ambitions and its on-field reality had never felt wider, leaving supporters anxious about what lay ahead for Manchester United. Conclusion: a season to forget. The 2018-2019 season was a brutal and chaotic campaign for Manchester United. From Mourinho's downfall to Solskjaer's short-lived revival and eventual collapse, the club experienced one of its most disappointing seasons in recent memory. Dressing room conflicts, defensive struggles, and poor recruitment decisions all contributed to a year of frustration. As the club entered the summer of 2019, major changes were necessary to restore United's competitive edge. While Solskjaer remained at the helm, it was clear that a major squad overhaul was required. The season served as a harsh reminder that Manchester United had a long way to go before reclaiming their status as one of Europe's elite clubs. The fight for resurgence would continue, but the scars of 2018-2019 would not be easily forgotten.